She's just like me for real. Yuki is a menace who must be stopped. The fact that within the first 2 minutes of an episode, she motorboats the maid. Not only does she motorboat the maid, the sub saying, just talking about titties, man. I'm like, okay. There's only, you only go downhill from here. There's no way you kickstart an episode this good and live up to that. But yeah, they did. You know a character's broken when they can immediately just learn hypnosis. I mean, props to our boy. He reads a book once and he's hypnotizing people. But it's the fact that Yuki's hypnosis is so strong, even she can't break it. And what happens when characters are under a hypnosis spell? We knew she was a degenerate, but the fact that it almost immediately goes into the hentai, they lose control, they start stripping, they're gonna do whatever they want. Everything I'm saying, it just sounds like this is the most filthy show ever. And surprisingly, it's actually wholesome at multiple points. It really is. I'm surprised our boy's alive. I thought he was a goner. Because not only when someone walks in on these two changing, I mean, that's the best cases, they think they're changing, but really they were stripping. And the worst part is he wasn't even trying to do any of this. He didn't even want to put anyone under the hypnosis spell. Yuki is the sibling that puts all the blame on the other sibling and for some reason gets away scot-free every freaking time. One of the best episodes of this series yet, and she's a menace. Now, of course, I do have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see all the fun in full, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, this episode was not what I expected. I mean, we ended with the whole, big old student debate that we had, and, glasses ran off, she's all upset. I'm not really surprised Alya wants to be a good girl and, help her out, but I'm saying let that bitch burn. Call me a hater is what it is. But it was a surprisingly interesting start. I mean, we get to see more on grandfather's side, and honestly, man, the mom looked dead inside. Like, the initial shot, I think it was the very first shot we see of the long family table, grandfather at one end, Yuki at the other, and mom's dead in the middle. Up close, she looks like a middle-aged mom who just hadn't slept that well, but in the wider shots, I thought she was one step away from jumping off a bridge. And it's weird because you can just tell just how toxic he is. We've already had hints of that in previous episodes, but it's just the way he talks about how, and like, he was there for like a minute of this episode, and unironically one of the best parts of this episode. Not because the episode was boring, but just a presence like no other. The idea that he's talking about how, like, no matter what, you have to win. There's no excuses if you don't win, blah, blah, blah. Just a complete hard ass. And I can only begin to imagine what the mom's been through to barely speak a word. And then the fact that she rushes over and, like, it feels like she's trying to have, like, a connection, right? Like, oh, you have your Chinese studies now. And it's so distant and cold. And I guess that's why our girl just immediately goes in for the titty handshake, because she just needs some comfort. At first she just asked for a hug, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You're probably craving some physical touch, and damn did that physical touch escalate. But I love how it's very clear why the two siblings gravitated towards each other so hard, because of how fractured the family is. Just sadly, anime was a mistake because it definitely corrupted a little too much. Now, it's interesting, though, because what we end up having is a very rom-com-y feeling episode. It's in the title. I think it's like rom-com-y and hypnosis or something was the title of this episode. You have the very typical, like, someone's overhearing something they shouldn't, so you have two of the council members underneath the desk. And honestly, our boy fumbled the bag. She was ready for a kiss. Let's be 100%. I think if he would have committed to it, like grab her waist or something, our boy would have landed a smooch. And what did he do instead? He called out like, hey, how long you guys gonna hide? Now, he didn't get in trouble for that. Alya was just embarrassed beyond belief. But my boy fumbled the bag there. He should have committed to it. But it's also kind of interesting seeing Miss Popular, how she just drops the, hey, you want to date me? I kind of like you. I'd date you. It's just she's kind of in her flustered phase of just going with the flow and kissing whoever, but we also see the dynamic that she had with Glasses and how she wanted better for her. It's a little bit of a complicated situation, and then they escalate into the clubroom. The student council, it's a questionable place, man. We go from casually, supposedly doing stuff for the school to then, hey, this is this hypnosis book. We're going to put you under a spell. Even if you don't know the inner workings of Yuki's mind, at no point should you actually try to hypnotize someone at school. One, it's not going to work realistically, but if it did, just imagine if it did become they just started stripping, you couldn't wake them up. What if you could never, it just feels like it's a recipe for disaster. And the fact that within reading the page one time, there has to be some monoparticles in the air or something, because there's no way this man read the book once, like, yeah, follow the finger, now you're gonna go to sleep. I really thought she was messing with us at first, and then when it also worked on Alya, I was like, oh god, this is about to be chaos, and quite literally chaos. Honestly, calm reaction from the girl walking in. I thought she was gonna call him a pervert right away. No, just karate chopped them, knocked him out, and then was ready to beat his ass. It's just, this show is ridiculous. This show has gotten progressively more interesting as it's went on. It's been more WTF as it went on. And the subtitlers know the assignment, and the dub, every time I hear stuff from the dub, like, just I haven't watched the full thing in dub in terms of all the episodes that have been out, but I have seen key moments with Yuki, and Jesus, man, like, it's just, the production understood the assignment. It brings out the filth, and it allows for Yuki to be the ultimate degenerate shuni alive. And, yeah. If there wasn't such complicated family drama, I generally wonder how much more sane she might appear at face value, because, that family be broken, man. I mean, everyone has, like, a bit of family drama to them, even if you have a great family. There's always at least an uncle or someone who's doing some BS. But when it's, like, so close that not only the parents are fractured, grandfather manipulating everything to be such a piece of shit, yeah, it's no wonder you turn to maybe the dark corners of the anime world and get a little too intoxicated by its degeneracy. But yeah, it's the fact that you can start an episode off with one of your lead characters motorboating the maid, talking about how great titties are, which can't say I deny that fact. That should be the tip of the iceberg, you know, the best of the best, the peak of the mountain, but just improved from there. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode of Alya down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alrighty, so today we got Benjamin Henderson, X-Nico, Shock Blaster, Nugzio, Fuzzy, Pokemon 222, 888, and we also have Crowley AC, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.